So chapter 9, Shloka 32. Oh, and Kim, we attempt to read the Sanskrit, and we have fun with it, but just know we are not experts in pronouncing these words. Mam Hai Partha Vaya Parsritya Yi Pi Siu Papa Yona Striyo Vasayas Tatha Shudas Te Pai Yanti Param Gatham. O son of Pertha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth women, Vasayas, which are merchants, as well as Sudras, which are the workers, can approach the supreme destination. It is clearly declared here by the Supreme Lord that in devotional service, there is no distinction between the lower or higher classes of people. In the material conception of life, there are such divisions, but for a person engaged in transcendental devotional service to the Lord, there are not. Everyone is eligible for the supreme destination. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that even the lowest, who are called the Kandalas, the dog eaters, can be elevated by association with a pure devotee. Therefore, devotional service and guidance of a pure devotee are so strong that there is no distinction between the lower and higher classes of men. Anyone can take to it. The most simple man taking center of the pure devotee can be purified by proper guidance. According to the different modes of material nature, men are classified in the mode of goodness, brahmanas, the mode of passion, kshatriyas or administrators, the mixed modes of passion and ignorance, vasayas or merchants, and the mode of ignorance, sudras or workers. Those lower than them are called kandalas, and they are born in sinful families. Generally, those who are born in sinful families are not accepted by the higher classes. But the process of devotional service and the pure devotee of the Supreme God are so strong that all the lower classes can attain the highest perfection of life. This is possible only when one takes center of Krishna. One has to take center completely of Krishna. Then one can become much greater than the great Gyanis and yogis.
Can I translate that into English?
Yeah, I was going to say pause and go over the gunas.
So we see like in modern Indian culture, like a perversion of this quote unquote caste system. And really in the Vedic culture, which was thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, the system, what it really means or what it meant for the culture was that you're born with a certain constitution, with certain affinities. And this is true still today. You're born with certain likes and dislikes, certain things that you're drawn to naturally that you're going to be better at than other things. So can you pull the screen back up so I can see I can go kind of like part by part. So people who are very interested in sort of teaching and interested in the sort of essence of spirituality. Like in our culture, we look at the people who want to become priests, who want to become rabbis, who want to be yoga teachers, who want to be monks, Buddhist monks, clerics, like whatever it is, they have this affinity for the spiritual and for helping people through teaching that. That's considered a brahmana. So like, it's not like nowadays, like you're born into this family and like you're supposed to be like stuck there. Like in old Vedic culture, it was like you're born with your constitution and that's what makes you fall into a certain category. And then from that category, you can flourish by entering into sort of the occupation of people who do well in that category. Like if you take somebody who, the second category, the kshatriyas, that's somebody who is like strong and sort of like not like aggressive, but like they have the energy to go out and do and be, and they want to accomplish in a physicality kind of way. Like those are the people who do really well in the jobs of like going into the army, of being, like big at dedicating their life to athletics, the cops, like the people who have a lot of like powerful energy to go and do and be physical. So if you take that person and you tell them, now you have to go be a priest, they might not feel happy in their lives, right? They might feel like it's in opposition to their like true calling inwardly, and their like their spirit will get crushed essentially. It's like if I tell a mathematician who just loves math, they're born into the world and like this is what they get and they love doing it, they'll sit there doing it all day, and then you tell them, okay, now like you've graduated from school, now you have to go be an artist. They're going to be utterly miserable. Right. And it's the same if you take the artist and you put them into like, oh, now you have to go be a math teacher, right? The artist is going to be miserable. So what this culture says is your dharma or your life's work. You were born to do what your life's work is, what your dharma, what your purpose is, and your body and mind are perfectly equipped for the things that you're meant to do. Now that's sort of sometimes missing in our culture. I know like with the millennials, it's starting to change where, we're like, I want to follow my passion. I want to follow, my life song, what makes me happy. But for a long time and for a lot of people and a lot of places, it's like you do what you have to do to survive. Like maybe you're taking on the occupation of your family. Maybe there's a lot of pressure from the parents to do something or be something. But we see like in those cases when there's this assertion on the child of like, you have to do this, you have to go become the doctor, you have to go become the lawyer. Like there's an inward discontent in the children who grow up and they're forced into situations like that if it doesn't align with their rakshatra or like their inner constitution. And the thing is like every individual knows for themselves what's meant for them, right? There's always that leaning of like, oh, this feels good to do this. Like, I feel like I'm in my flow when I do this versus I feel like I'm being crushed when I do this other thing. And like what yoga does is it guides us to try, or at least yoga philosophy and culture, it guides us to try and listen more deeply to that inner wisdom and stop listening to the external voices, right? Because generally nobody else is going to know what's as good for you as yourself, right? They say the guru is within, the greatest teacher is within. So we do these meditation practices and these breathwork practices to start our day because it brings a certain clarity to the mind, right? And the mind is generally conditioned by what we put into it. All right. If you're, if you're always taking in sort of the same information and somebody's been telling you the same thing your whole life, it starts to program the mind. But the yogis teach you something deeper than the mind. You can observe that mind when you're sitting in meditation, just going on like a broken record. And there's this moment that happens where you're like, wow, I'm actually deeper than my mind. I'm like not just my mind, So when you get to that point, you can look at what's going on in your mind and say, I want to participate in that thought, or I don't want to participate in that thought. And something very powerful happens. We can start to make choice, right? We get access to free will by doing these practices. And what it does is it allows us to sort of be guided by that inner thing, by following our true path and our dharma. It starts with this thing about like, they're talking about women, like not that women are lower, just like everyone's born to a woman. So they're saying of like this particular group of people of this classification. The Sudras, I don't like that he's using the word ignorance here. What he just means is people who can move a little slower, right? Who are a little more stable. They're not looking for, too much excitement. They don't want to be in charge. Like the Kshatriyas want to be in charge. They want to be the leaders. But the next group, they don't have any interest in that, right? They want to come to their job, do their work, and then go home and focus on, their own personal lives. So it's really like the Sanskrit word would be tamas, which in this tradition they call ignorance, but like in my tradition, they just call it inertia. So it's like, it's just moving slower is all. and they do really well. They thrive in those positions. Like if you take a leader and you're like, okay, go to your 9 to 5 every day and just sit at the desk and do what you're told, they're going to be suffering the whole time. They're going to say, no, I want to do what I want to do. I want to be in charge. Right. And like none of it is better or worse than the other. It's really just like making us aware of all these different kinds of people. So once you become aware, you say, yeah, hey, I fall into that. There's nothing wrong with me. This is just like what my rakshatra is. I can follow the path of that. And then you have the Kandalas. They're saying like born in sinful families. I can't with this verbiage, but forget the sinful thing. It's it's people who are generally like doing the work for the workers. So they're doing like they're cleaning up after and things like that. So the idea is that like if we're looking at this from a material perspective and we're just considering like not that inner expression of the consciousness of the being, we're just looking at it on this like external level of like, oh, that's your job and all you are is your job, then it's really missing the point of the whole being, of the whole human. So what the yogic perspective is trying to bring to us is that inside every being is this perfect and beautiful consciousness, right? Everyone can directly experience that in themselves at one point or another, right? The quieter the mind gets, the more stable the mind gets, and you drop deeper than the mind, you realize that there's like this really beautiful thing that's witnessing all the stuff outside changing and moving. Like when you fall in love for the first time, you get a little glimpse of what it feels like to be embodied in that space, right? Because like it's the first time you're falling in love. You have no preconceived notion that your mind can muddle up about the situation. You're just purely present and you're purely experiencing it. And that's what it feels like to be you, the true you. Or like if you see the sunset for the first time, or you go to the ocean for the first time, there's no preconceived notion of the beauty of it all. And you just get that moment of quiet, that moment of awe, of wonder. The yogis say that is who you truly are on the inside. Like that is your consciousness coming through. And the yoga practices are meant to give us a more sustained experience of that, so that you're having that kind of awe, that kind of wonder, that kind of presence in all the moments of your life. So my point being is he's saying this, that when you're doing these practices of yoga, you're able to see past the external labels of people. And you start like, there's this, I think there's a quote in here about samana, or like an equal vision. You start to have an equal vision of all people. And it doesn't mean that, people haven't gone through different things because of their bodies. It means you're considering the wholeness of them, that included within all the external experiences because of the body that they have, there's also this precious consciousness that is there, and it's always going to be there, and it's always going to be perfect, and it's always going to be truth, and it's always going to be eternal, irregardless of what the external vehicle identity is taking on. Like whether you're the warrior, or you're the priest, or you're the janitor, there's something special and beautiful within each of us, and that deserves a sort of reverence or respect. So then one can become much greater than they're saying the intellectuals, or the people who are taking on all these practices. Like this is the most simplistic way to sort of transcend life, is to see all people as precious like drops of divinity. It's like that's sort of I don't even know if that was like making it English enough, but I tried. Any thoughts or questions before we move on to the next one?
Thank you, Amanda.
You're welcome.
I have questions, but
okay.
Kim, do you have a question first?
Oh no, I was gonna make a comment saying that like it was very beautifully transcribed, and like it made me tear up a little bit actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first heard it too, one of my teachers was teaching it, I would like cry in class because it hits like a piece of truth inside of you, right? You're like, yeah, that's how I felt the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So I have a couple of questions. One is like, I know we were talking about, and I totally understand it. I get it. Like going and doing more of what it is that, like you're made to do, etc. So, I'm mentoring this young woman, and she's extremely shy. And so I'm like trying to push her out of her comfort zone. And I'm like telling her to, like, hey, maybe you should join Toastmasters. Maybe you should do this, because I want her to find her voice. And like, so part of me is like, well, am I supposed to be doing that? Because that's like, she's obviously like more of this person who likes to sit kind of in like the back of the office and study the books. But at the same time, I want her to be able to stand up for herself. So like, what, am I reading too much into it? Does that
I
make
think
any
that's
sense?
an interesting thought. I mean, like from my background in psychology, I don't know if this is like a very yogic explanation, but it does sort of like, so there's this idea of satya, of the ability to speak truth. And that means our ability to speak our own truth to the truth of others. So like that idea of being able to stand up for yourself is very important, and it's very healthy and very purifying. And sometimes people who can't do that have some kind of imbalance in that area in the throat chakra, which is really like your thyroid, parathyroid. So bringing the ability to speak is actually very healing to those glands, which help to regulate like all kinds of hormonal systems. If she's very much of an introvert, she might benefit from doing a training in it's oh my brain, you guys, my brain. So there's 3 forms of communication that you can classify it into. You can be aggressive, passive aggressive, or I think the third one's assertive. So you can take assertiveness training where you are taught essentially how to speak your truth in a way that doesn't harm other people, but also like takes you out of that people pleaser zone where like you can't speak because you're afraid you're going to make someone upset.
Right.
Like it gives you the tools you need. So maybe my mom's like that. My mom hates being in front of people, and she's like such a talented artist and scientist. Like whenever she would end up being in school, they would always be like, hey, you should teach a class. And then she'd have a nervous breakdown the whole time teaching. She would be suffering and struggling because it's like so not her constitution to do that. She doesn't like being on the stage in front of everyone. And she like quit every time she was teaching, she would quit because it just didn't. So I mean, Toastmasters, if she doesn't have to get up in front of people, might help, but like an assertiveness training might be the best that she can do like at home by herself if she's an introvert.
Yeah.
But I think like
But
it's definitely relevant to like this
right.
conversation. It's really relevant. Like, how do we honor people and sort of like their constitutions? And that's very much my teaching style. Like I'm not the kind of teacher who's gonna like throw you out on the ledge. I know some teachers are like that and sort of like, abuse you and make you feel like you have to do something that you're not comfortable with. I'm like the very soft-spoken, gentle teacher who's like, let's try this little thing now. Oh, how does that feel? Oh, can we try something a little harder now? Like, and slowly build up. So maybe once she does feel confident with being assertive in her language, she'll be able to get up on the stage more confidently if she has to,
Yeah. So I guess my question was, does it make sense for me to push her in this area, because I know it will be good for her, although it's out of her like general in like being. But I think the answer is yes, because it's in a whole, she needs to be able to do this.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with suggesting things to someone.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong.
I think the math teacher needs to know how to do art, and I think the art teacher needs to know how to do math. So I think it's important for this woman. She doesn't have to give presentations all day long, but she needs to know how to use her voice, and it doesn't have to be verbal. If she can learn how to write powerfully, or
yeah.
you know, express her communication. If she wants to come in chanting, you know, I'm joking. But I would also argue, like, I feel I am not a shy person, but I'm an introvert. So like if she's not in her comfortable, like I can talk all day long with people I know, but if you invite me to a party at your house and I don't know anyone there, I'm going to be hiding in the corner in my most uncomfortable setting. But if I know everyone there, I'm going to be like a little social butterfly. So
Right.
finding, and like for me, voice is hard for me, but I can type. Like I can be like make a Facebook post and share like really intimate details, but it's harder for me to voice that. So maybe, and like when I have to have a really tough conversation, like Amanda's saying with Satya, like I have to stretch out my throat muscles and my neck, and I have to move because it's the only way I can get myself to release the words.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So movement might
that's
help
helpful.
her. Like I think what's powerful because I mentor people too, I think what's powerful is, and as a yoga teacher too, it's like teaching people that this is my way, but not the only way. Like these are tools that are helpful for me. Let's find the tool that's helpful for you. And that's what your job as the mentor is. It's not to tell her to do it this way. It's to guide her to find what way is going to work for her.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she knows best for herself, right?
What?
Right.
Yeah, like it's exactly what we were talking about before. Like she knows what's best for her. Her
Yeah.
spirit knows the way to go. It's just like the job of the teacher or the mentor is to get people out of their own way by sort of like pulling the wool away from their eyes so they can see their own truth, which we can't know for them.
Right.
Or even like just like she's probably, if she is a very shy person, she's probably been told this her entire life. It's so ingrained in her because people used to tell me I'm shy too, and then I finally realized I'm not shy. I'm not a shy. I will public speak all day long in front of audiences if it's on.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that about you at a party, Pam.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to go. Do not invite me if I don't know everyone there. I don't want big things. I don't even want to go if I kind of know people. Like I want small gatherings. I mean, but like I'll go teach a yoga class and I won't know the student, but I'm so confident in my role as a yoga teacher that I'm comfortable being there, and I welcome, like that's an opportunity to meet new people, but it has to be on my terms, I guess, is what I don't know. I don't describe myself, but I think letting her voice what she thinks she is, instead of saying, well, everyone's always told me I've been shy my entire life, or let her own that. Like, look, I am a shy person, but I need to be able to speak up for myself, especially as a woman in the workplace. It's important. And there are probably a lot of books. So maybe like for me,
the first thing I did was I mailed her a book.
Yeah, but that might not work for her. Maybe put her on an audio book or a YouTube video, like letting her find the resources that's going to help her. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good advice.
But I do think it's important that she does find her voice.
Yeah,
and so like she's like, be honest with her. Like sometimes she's going to use her voice and someone's going to attack back to her. Like she's got to be prepared for, you know, like the response might be negative, because I know sometimes when I rev myself up for this tough conversation, if someone comes back to me and doesn't respond the way I want them to, I get super upset, because I'm like, I work so hard to have this conversation, and I'm like, I'm not getting my way, but that's life. Something really good comes out of it, but
no, I've had that before too. I'm thinking of situations where that's happened to me. Like I planned this whole thing, I scripted it, and it just derailed.
Yeah, I mean, it could shut her down, but she's got to just get back.
No, she has to find it. But no, I like the analogy of what you said. Like the art teacher still needs to do math, and the math teacher still needs to know a little bit about art.
Yeah, I love the creative arts people that are like, I can't do math, but they want to become entrepreneurs. And I'm like, well, how are you going to manage a budget for your business if?
Hey, I'm going to argue that you can hire someone to do it.
Of course. That's totally fine. But also, if somebody could be cheating you, like you have to know
I know you're empowering us, Pam. You're giving the
And
good
also
advice.
math is my favorite subject, so I'm biased toward math. But yes, you can hire somebody, but I mean, I would argue most entrepreneurs that I know are not starting out in a hiring mode. Like, you got to build up the money to start. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything to share before we move into breath?
Yeah, one other thing I was thinking when Amanda was talking about like not labeling people, the other thing I'm starting to do, and it's helping me with my own life, is not label situations like good or bad. Like if something happens and I'm like, oh, that was the worst, just like, it happens type thing, and try to not label it. I don't know. It's something new I'm trying this month. Last month was I am enough. And this month I'm trying not to label situations.
I love that.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I always say when I have those moments of clarity, it's just a passing moment. I try not to label it good or bad, and it just happens. It's not an event that, like I said, it's not good or bad, but this is where I am currently, so I have to just keep going on.
Yeah. That's such a healthy way of looking at the world.
Yeah.
I try to.
I was meditating yesterday. I've been doing the Oprah and Deepak meditation. I think I'm on like day 10 or something. But yesterday, Deepak, he introduces a mantra every day. And I've heard mantras in and out of the studio and through the meditation app. But yesterday, this one stuck with me. And I wanted to share it because I loved it. And I took Zach's class yesterday. And I was in Savasana. My mind was like running. And I'm like, just chill, like enjoy the Savasana. Like his class was probably one of the hardest classes. I was drenched in sweat. And I'm like, this is what I need to enjoy the Savasana right now. Like, this is my few minutes of Savasana. And I brought back I remembered the mantra, and I was practicing it. And it's Ananda Hum. And it means, I mean, Amanda maybe know more about it, but it was about like bliss, like I am bliss, or this is my true happiness. And so if you want to use that as part of a practice, maybe not today, but just another thing to put in your tool belt, it was like a really powerful, happy thing for me yesterday.
Can you repeat the mantra?
Yep, I'll type it in the chat. And so I would inhale Ananda and then exhale Hum. And we use Sohum a lot too, SOHUM, which means I am that, or just I am. But there was like just saying the word Ananda Hum, like it really did bring like a smile or like a bliss feeling, especially taking such a good yoga class, like to end it in my Savasana that way. It was nice. I'm curious to see. Well, I did it yesterday in the morning, but I was guided through it. So I don't know. It's just nice to have for me. All right, so we're going to move into breath work. So I like to sit up on a block, so my hips are above my knee. If you don't have a block, you can sit up on a pillow or a few towels rolled up or blankets, or if you want to just sit on the floor or chair, wherever you are. Just create a nice, strong, straight spine. Relax the shoulders, chin's parallel to the floor. A slight engagement of the core. Feel the sit bones grounding down as the crown of the head lifts to the ceiling. Allowing the breath to flow evenly, breathing in and out through the nose. You can close your eyes if that's okay, or leave them slightly open. Just taking inhales through the nose, filling up the low belly, and then exhale, letting all the air out through the nose. And choosing what you want to do with the palms. They can be face up or down on the lap, or maybe even together in front of the heart. And you can stay here and breathe in your nostril breathing, or if you want to move into alternate nostril breathing, there's two options you can do with your hands. You're going to fold the pointer in the middle, either down into the palm. We're going to use our thumb and our ring finger to close our nostrils. Or some people like to place these two fingers on their third eye and work this way. This way doesn't work well for me, so I fold them down, but it's up to you. You can play with both. So you're going to use your thumb to close the right. We're going to inhale through the left. Then we close both and exhale out through the right. Then we inhale the right, close right, exhale left. And I'll guide us as we're moving through this. We'll do a few rounds of this alternate nostril breathing. And at some point, if you want to steer off on your own path and move your locks and retention, if you've been practicing this for a long time, I'm not going to guide that today. So we'll start taking a breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Close the right nostril with the thumb. Inhale through the left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. We'll do one more round. Inhale left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. Release the palm down to the lap. Just take breath in through the nose and out through the nose. I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes. Oh, we should have went into, let me go over some meditation practices for Kim. Do you practice meditation?
From time to time, yes.
Okay, so we set the timer for 20 minutes. If 20 minutes feels too long for you, you can drop at any time. If you have, if you have somewhere to go or something like a time conflict, 20 minutes can feel like a really long time if you're new to meditation. Just know, like we said before, it's not about like clearing the mind. It's about not attaching yourself to your thoughts. So like not labeling things good and bad. Again, tons of tools we can use in our meditation. You can use the So Hum mantra. You could use the Ananda Hum mantra if there's a mantra you're already working on. If mantra work doesn't work for you, if you want to work with breath, so you can watch the breath moving up and down the spine. If this seat isn't comfortable for you, this doesn't have to be the shape you take meditation in. I always say be in whatever shape that honors you that day, that you're going to be comfortable to allow yourself the benefits of meditation. So sometimes I do legs at the wall. Sometimes I lay over my blocks to open up my chest, especially if I need to practice compassion in like a heart bench situation. If you're not familiar with heart bench, we can do that another time, or I can send you a picture. So you don't want the body to be screaming to your mind that it's not comfortable. You want to be, and this is the whole point of practicing the physical practice, is to get our body comfortable to sit in this meditation practice. So it's early in the morning. Sometimes my knees creak up and I'm like, ow. And then I'm like, everything's getting tense. So just know that it doesn't have to be the Buddha meditation. If there's a different shape that you want to choose today, really what we're doing is practicing concentration. So just getting your mind focused on one point, whether it's through the mantra, through the breath. Maybe you're looking at something like and using a gaze as a one point. Like some people use a candle or some sort of object that you want to honor that day. So there's lots of different options and you have to pick what's right for you. And that's part of that practice of like honoring your true self. So, and if you have any questions, you can let us know. Even if it's not today, you can just email the studio and somebody will get back to you.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
so now I'm going to set the timer. Bringing your hands together in front of your heart. Namaste.